Hi, good afternoon, everybody. April, can you hear me? Just a mic test. Hi. For those that are actually attending Zoom, can you just put in the chat box if you can hear me? All clear. Okay, thank you so much. Before I start, can I just really thank our friends from Limitless um, for inviting me today. No, I'm really happy to be in this workshop today, facilitating the topic around finishing strong amidst the pandemic. This is very close to my heart because I've been giving workshops on this topic to my work colleagues in 2020, 2021, and also for some Catholic communities, no? And I feel that this is something that I could, do more right now where we're actually still plugged with the pandemic. Before I move on to the next slide, let me just quickly introduce myself. So I'm Mayshelle Flores-Rosario. I'm actually by background a chemical engineer and environmental engineer. But for the past 3 years or so, I've immersed myself in the world of coaching and neuroscience. And it has been a joy for me to be in the space of coaching others, helping others to be the best version of themselves. By the way, a bit of a shout out to some of my work colleagues who are actually in the Zoom. Um, Thank you so much for attending. I've seen some names there. Thank you so much for attending again. This is not new to you. Some of the materials that are here I have already shared previously. But for the rest, I hope that you'll stay glued. And by the way, this is not a one-way download, huh? This is a workshop. I'm facilitating this. This is going to be needing you to be involved, and there's going to be audience or attendee participation all throughout the workshop or this particular session. So let's start now with the session. Finishing strong amidst the pandemic is very important for me because, as you all know, ang daming changes na nangyayari sa atin and also a lot of uncertainties as well. And to be honest, yung sobrang tagal ng pandemic, no, it's already taking a toll on the not just the mental health, even the emotional health and the physical health of people. And for me personally, when I say finishing strong amidst the pandemic, the definition for me on this one is that, amidst all of these uncertainties and pandemic conditions and situations that we're experiencing, I will continue to be healthy, I will continue to be alive, and I will continue to be grateful for my life, for still continuing to exist. So let's now go to the next slide. So the first thing that I'd like to ask for everyone who's in the call, let me just check Zoom. Right now, we have 69 attendees, so that's minus one, that's 68 attendees. I hope that you have your paper and pen with you. If not, you can use your mobile phones. This is a question that I'd like to ask for everyone to reflect because, when we do self reflection, when we step back and when we take a pause and really, give some thoughts around things that are very important to us, it's going to be very good to the body because, again, knowledge is the first step, right? It's actually begging the question, what is this all about? And then we go to the second step, which is vertical or reflective thinking, which is what is this all about? And what does this mean to me, my work colleagues, my family members, my community, even the country, the whole world, and the universe? So let's try to go into that kind of thinking in the next couple of minutes. And let's really give this opportunity to ourselves to do some step back and reflection. So the first question that I'm going to ask, and I want some people later to actually you know, say their piece, right? To share for those who are actually, courageous enough to share their thoughts, no? So the question is, Anong nararamdaman nyo about the pandemic? And ano yung mga things that you're actually experiencing in life right now? And if there's one word that best describes that feeling, what is that? And finally, what is driving that feeling? I'm going to give you some time now to actually write down using your pen and paper or maybe your phones. And then let's try to get some people later to share what their thoughts are. April, if you could give some background music while we're doing this, just soft music. All right. And for those who want to write in the chat box via Zoom, you can, freely do so. Just write in there your responses. Mm. Thank you for sharing that, Annalene. You feel exhausted. I feel you. Yes, this is the first question, Winda. Survival. Anxious. Oh, I can feel you, Miss Felicima. Uncertain. Certainly. Thank you for sharing. Keep them coming in the chat box. Overwhelmed. Definitely, with all the things that are happening at the moment, it can certainly be that feeling fear. Thank you so much. Challenge. Yes. Overwhelmed with many things. Indeed. I feel you, Miss Winda. Fearful. All right. Keep them coming. Sometimes afraid. Indeed. Restrained. All right. Fighting with faith. Uncertain. Every day is uncertain for increasing COVID infected. Indeed. Now, please keep the responses coming in the Zoom chat box. But may I just ask someone from the chat box to maybe share, because I feel like, just articulating the feeling that we have somehow can really make us, feeling that clarity. And then from that clarity, we can then feel better. I'd like to call on, if it's okay, maybe Glad's, Miss Glad's survival. Can you just maybe share with us um, why did you feel that it's survival for you? If you can just share, yeah, Miss Glad's. I think you're still muted, Miss Glad's. Hello. Okay, I cannot hear Miss Glad's. Maybe we can check with Miss Valgomera challenge. Um, what is driving that feeling of being challenged, my dear? I still cannot hear. Okay, all right. Indeed, okay. So that's okay. Let me just read through your responses. Oh, Nelsie, my friend, is actually here. Not all negative. I had more quality and quantity time with family. Big minus on stressful commuting. Indeed, no? Ang daming nabago because of the pandemic. Um, we have a lot of time indeed at home, and then we're able to actually cut that commuting time. And I think that's really good. Feeling stressed, I feel you, Miss Helen. Rested but sometimes stressed. Indeed, it's very important that we recognize that we're rested, but there's still some stress that's up there. Bored, stressed, there are difficulties but great opportunities as well. And then if we'll just look around and be appreciative of what we've been blessed with, thankful, grateful. Lisa, thank you so much for sharing. Yes, indeed. This is also the time to be really thankful and grateful for whatever we're actually given at the moment, no? Anxious. Okay, so I receive a lot of, responses from the chat box. There's also challenged but hopeful. Um, there's just, a lot of us in this room right now feeling uncertainty, feeling fearful, feeling stressed, and all that. And I can certainly, feel that as well. At nandun din ako sa space na yan, and hindi kayo nag-iisa. Lahat tayo, I guess, majority, if not all of us, actually feel that way during this pandemic. And it's something that we need to recognize. We need to accept that it's happening. And it's because the pandemic is really quite stretched already. And that's why there are these kinds of feelings that we actually feel right now. So I hope that you're still continuing to write in your notes. And let's go through this, slowly. And let's go through this with some compassion to ourselves that indeed this is not an easy time, that indeed this is actually a difficult time for everyone, but we can still go through this with peace. I have another friend who's here. Shout out also to Troy Tolentino, who said that he's feeling restrained and I'm not able to do what I want to do because of all of the uncertainty. Troy, I know that you're one brave soul there. Would you mind sharing with us and maybe, try to expand what you mean by this, by your response to the chat box. Troy, can you go off mute? Thank you so much for that, Troy. I feel, knowing Troy, who's actually a very extroverted person, at tinanggal sa kanya yung, Thank you so much for that, Troy. I feel, knowing Troy, who's actually a very, yeah, um, yung tinanggal sa kanya yung physical connection is already a big minus to the kind of life that has been accustomed. And I feel that. And it's something that we need to recognize in ourselves. What is it that's been, reduced from us because of this pandemic? Because the moment that we recognized the things that are actually not doing well, from our end, it's also the moment that we're trying to capture what it is that we could actually put as a solution to the table, no, for ourselves. It's not just about what's doing so well, because that's very important also, but what's also not doing well, because again, we're not human doings, right? Hindi tayo gawa 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 lang na klase ng tao. we're really human beings. And as human beings, we're capable of what? Feeling. It's not just about thinking, it's also the feeling part. So thank you so much, Troy. That was really, really good. Thank you so much. Another one who's actually sharing in the chat box is Dr. Elise Orbis. Life is so uncertain. This Zoom is perfect and timely. Tama yun, no? In fact, because of this pandemic, the Zoom meetup that we have with people, may they be people who we are friends with, or maybe strangers, the first time that we're seeing them or meeting them virtually, it's actually helping because again, it's still connection. And as human beings, we crave for that connections, right? So thank you so much for all of the um, the stuff that you have actually written down here in the Zoom chat box. April, can we go to the next slide, please? Now, may mga times that, it's very, very, very difficult for us to even name our emotions or our feelings. Bakit? Kanina na-point out ng mga attendees natin, ang dami nila, that, we feel so uncertain, we feel afraid, you know, we feel, so much anxiety and all that. Pero kapag may overwhelming feeling tayo, naranasan niyo ba yon na kapag ang dami ng pakiramdam, mahirap alamin kung anong pakiramdam, or if we're actually just so busy, we cannot even have time to really name the emotions. And for me, I have actually received this very good guide. And I've actually used this for the last 2 years now, particularly during the pandemic. Yeah. And for me, this is very helpful because when I cannot actually name my feelings, I just get this slide, yeah, of mine. I did some snapshots or screenshot on this on my phone, and then I just go through this. What is it really that I'm feeling right now? And then I stop, and then I try to really feel it. Yeah. And the reason I do that, it's because when you stop and really appreciate the feeling and name that feeling, your body is actually telling you, thank you. Thank you for actually giving time and stopping whatever you do to just understand what you're going through right now. So it's not okay to to just, get on with a busy life and not recognize the feeling. Sabi nga nila, di ba, it's okay not to be okay. Because really, our feelings are important. They can guide us. They can let us see what's in there, what's out there for us, and what are we actually experiencing in the now and maybe in the future. Okay? So I hope that this is going to be helpful for you. The wheel is also quite helpful if, at times it's very difficult for you to actually do a specific recognition of a feeling, pwedeng generic, but it's really good to just, oh, okay, I'm threatened. Okay, with the threatened, ano nga ba? Am I nervous? Do I feel exposed? So let's say things like that, and it's very, very helpful. April, can we go to the next slide, please? Now, of course, we've just finished 2021. And I want to ask you, and please do put it in your pen, in your paper. And if you could also share it in the chat box via Zoom, that would really, really be lovely. So the question is, what is that one word that describe your 2021? Keep them coming. I'm now looking at Zoom for your contribution. Let's see. Grateful. Okay, that's a really good word, Nelsie. Thank you. Courage. Wow, amazing. Challenging, blessed. 2021, huh? All right. Okay, blessed, very challenging. Roller coaster, confused. Okay. Hey, shout out to Leo. Thank you so much for attending, my friend. Blessed. Okay. All right. Keep them coming. Maybe as we go through the responses over Zoom chat box, can I ask Leo to maybe share and expand a bit what this word actually meant to him in 2021? What is that? Why did you say that that's your word, Leo? What this word actually meant to him in 2021. What is that? Why did you say that that's your word, Leo?
I think personally, yeah, I'm like, there's a layer to it that I don't expect something like this to happen in my lifetime. And at the same time, like, career-wise, like, before we started working together, I was already, like, working remotely. Like, I was already doing a bit of traveling and also working. So I was used to not being with people I have to work with. But when it was forced upon me that I have to work this way, it became really confusing and almost like hostile. The feeling of being confined um, and having to be alone. Yeah. So it was really, really confusing to me. It was not that the way I work was not
Mm,
something new to me, but at the same time, being enforced or being forced upon me, it didn't feel as good as it did before. So it was just very confusing.
thank you so much for sharing that, Leo. And thank you for being vulnerable and trying to really think about what made it confusing for you. Maybe just a follow-up question, Leo. Now that you were able to actually match that word with the things that actually happened in 2021 for you, how does that make you feel? Match that word with the things that actually happened in 2021 for you. How does that make you feel? Match that word with the things that actually happened in 2021. How does that make you feel?
I think, thinking about it, the confusion was really clear because for me, it's like it's a very serious illness and
Mm,
it's changing everyone's lives. And I realized that for the past few years before the pandemic, I've been really lucky enough to be in a comfortable place.
mm,
So I think the confusion really came from fear that because of the pandemic and what we had to do as like a population, we had to protect each other. Um, I was forced to like choose things or do things that might not be as comfortable as it was
mm,
before. So it was really of
mm,
fear of losing that option or
mm.
losing that choice that I think I always had. Yeah.
Thank you so much for that, Leo. That's really, really, really amazing. And what I like about the sharing is that it was quite a clear step for you to say that I had confusion, but where it actually started is what's the root cause of it? It's actually fear. And that's a very, very good clarity realizations experience that you had in there. Really good, amazing, excellent. Thank you so much. Let me just really read through some of the responses. So blessed, I'm seeing a lot of blessed, challenging and saddest here. I'm sorry to hear that, Miss Jennifer. Thankful, unease, challenge, no? Inspired to thrive. I like that. Blessed and grateful, hopeful, brave, beyond blessed. Can I just ask maybe Dr. Eliza, braved. When you talk about being braved, for 2021. How did that look like for you?
Really, when you talk about being brave for 2021, how did that look like for you? Maybe in our younger one,
Good afternoon.
my younger one, we are involved.
Yes, definitely.
Oh,
Yes, we can hear you.
yes, definitely. All right, good afternoon. Actually, yes, we can hear you. The life is very, of course, much uncertain. Yes, actually, pagiging brave natin, especially me. So, the fact I was an expert person, but naging mas matapang, hindi ako because, you
Mm.
know, yung first attack ng 2021, I have actually that fear of, because yung ating, yung pandemic, ang virus, we don't know kung kailan siya atake. So what I did is be able to, okay, to give myself like, okay, be brave. So
Mm.
remember the story about David and Goliath.
Mm.
So yan yung aking naging inspirations actually. You have to be sometimes nag-overthinking, we have a lot of issues and concerns. I remember I remember this that sabi nga is we need to enjoy our now and be grateful because we really don't know tomorrow. So yun yung naging dahilan ko na kinakailangan mas makapang ako for myself, for my children, for the people around me because tinututunan talaga nila ako. So instead of mas matakot, yes nakakatakot. I turned that feeling of something like magkaroon tayo ng high positive spirit.
Wow.
So talagang mas ayos pa namin na yung faith na kailangan natin. So yun yung brave, no, na naging matapang pa ako lang. As matter of fact, okay, so we are okay, we did infected by yung family. But then again, good thing, good thing that we are alive, we are okay, and we are now, negative now from this virus. So dumating yung point na yun na hindi ko naramdaman yung mas
Mm.
matinding ako because of my actions. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that. Really, really, really inspiring um, sharing there. And to be honest, yung courage no na minention ni Dr. Obis kanina, um, yung David against Goliath, just remember, just a sling and a stone. And yet, he was able to defeat Goliath, right? Kaya din natin. This virus may be, big. It's a very small one. It's not something that we see, but it has a very strong negative impact for us. Kahit na gaano kalakas man ito, but we know that we have that deep faith, in God, whatever it is that we, cling on to, kaya natin to, right? Walang imposible when we have that faith, that hope, and that trust that things can be okay again, right? So thank you so much for that, Dr. Obis. Really inspiring, no? And if you can just remember what she said as well, kailangan maging brave, not just for herself, but also for her family members and for other people. And I think that's really commendable because as we go through life, we're not just living for ourselves, right? We're also living for others. And that's how, and that's, not just how, but it's also what God actually planted us on this earth, right? The big commandment. It's not just to love ourselves and to love Him, it's also to love other people, right? That's the biggest command. So thank you so much for that, Dr. Obis. Really inspiring. All right, okay. Now let's go to the next slide, please, April. Right, okay. So alam na natin kung ano yung ating word for 2021. I would just want you to give some time now to write down what you will stop doing, what you will continue doing, and what you're going to start doing. So 3 to 5 for each, no? 3 to 5 stop doing, 3 to 5 continue doing, and 3 to 5 items for start doing. And really just use this to self-reflect. I'm giving you some time to do this, maybe 3 to 5 minutes. Yeah. Okay. I'm also gonna write down um, my inputs in my notebook. I've done this um, last December 31st with some friends who visited me. But I'm going to do this again so that we can do this together. Okay, stop overthinking, indeed. Okay. One more minute, and then let's try to see some of the sharings here at the chat box. But please, if you don't want to put your responses in the chat box, that's perfectly fine. Just really put it in, in your notes. Let's do this together and do that self-reflection. Okay, time is up. Thank you so much, Nelsie. This is really good. Stop worrying, continue being resilient, and start prioritizing self care. Nelsie, would you want to share? When you were writing this down for yourself, um, what comes to mind for you? Parang ano yung naramdaman mo nung sinusulat mo yung mga dapat mong itigil, dapat mong i-continue, at dapat mong simulan for yourself? Nelsie, can I get you to share? Dapat mong i-continue at dapat mong simulan for yourself. Nelsie, can I get you to share? Okay. Hi everyone. Hi Mayshelle. I really appreciate this session. Yeah, una sa lahat, I'm very grateful attending this kasi I have this chance
I think this is my the only time that I do that reflecting through those questions. And it's very hard to answer din. Kasi in what aspect? Kasi parang ang daming aspects in our life that we need to prioritize and attend to. But at the end talaga, it's really yourself that you really need to prioritize, take care of. Otherwise, you cannot take care of others. You cannot give what you don't have. So ultimately, I know, prioritize yourselves. That's why I keep on following you. I know you've been posting very useful insights, tips on how on self-care because I badly need that, juggling priorities and responsibilities as a mom, as a wife, as a friend, and mas challenging siya ngayong
Mm.
pandemic that we are a lot of barriers around us. We cannot reach out physically, unlike before, may meetups and all. So yung coping ngayon mas mahirap because of the pandemic. So yun. Yeah, which I've told myself na of course need to prioritize my health, lalo
Mhm.
tayo na we are prone to so many sickness and not
Mhm.
just COVID. We are also prone to other diseases na ang hirap-hirap i-maintain yung health
Mm.
na we're getting rid of as much as possible not to go to hospitals, di ba?
Yeah.
It's very difficult.
Yeah.
So, take care of self in all aspects, mentally, physically, emotionally, and so on.
Thank you so much, Nelsie, for that. And I really feel you, no, yung nung sinabi mo na we cannot take care of other people without taking care of ourselves. That's very important, no? From my 18 years in the corporate or so, I think 18, yeah, 18 years. One thing that I really learned the hard way is that even if we actually give maybe 200, 300% of ourselves to our jobs, and then we forget to actually take care of ourselves, darating sa point na hindi rin tayo magiging ganun ka productive at work. And when we don't take care of ourselves because we prioritize other people, at the end of the day, it's really not about taking care of them because paano tayo makaka-take care sa kanila in a very sustainable way, right? When we're not taking care of ourselves. We are very important, no? Each one of us. And every day we need to choose that, no? We need to make the choice to prioritize ourselves and give ourselves time for self-care. It could just be 5 minutes in the morning or maybe 10 minutes in the morning doing meditation and self reflection like this, and really, telling the world that I'm ready to face a brand new day and being that hopeful person, being that grateful person that you are at the start of the day, and really taking breaks during the day. Because again, kung deteriorated yung health natin, we cannot be of big help to other people, particularly for us, yung mga working mothers tito, or maybe even the dads, no. Those are actually juggling so many roles. Sobrang hirap this pandemic, no. And the only way we could, manage this is really to give ourselves that compassion and that gentleness. That if there are things that we cannot do for the day, what are we going to do? Do it the next day, or do it the next day, or do it in the future, right? Hindi naman siguro mamamatay tayo kung hindi natin mauubos lahat ng mga things to do natin for the day, right? We just need to make sure that we come out really healthy after each day. Thank you. All right. That's really good, Nelsie. I like this. Wow. Mark Susbilia, stop doing this regarding health boosting methods. Preemptive. Oh, wow. This is really good. And start doing things to help myself more productive despite of the situation. Really, really good. Um, can I ask just one more person here, Florence Serene? If you can just maybe share with us yung experience mo doing this. So you were able to write three things, no, for each. The stop doing, the continue doing, and the start doing. Ano yung pakiramdam mo after mong ginawa tong exercise na to, Florence? Pakiramdam mo after mong ginawa tong exercise na to, Florence? We cannot hear you. I think we have some problems with the audio. Let's just move on and yeah. But thank you so much for that input. All right, April, if you can just move to the next slide, please. All right. Okay. Now, this is not just for the everyday thing that you're actually doing, but this is about, the whole of 2021. If you can just recall, what were the three things that you were grateful for last year? Really the big ticket items in there. What are these? Keep them coming if you wanted to write in the chat box. Else, you can just write it in your paper or notes. There must be a lot of things that you were grateful for in 2021, but what were those three things that really stood out? We survived. Thank you. Life, family, work. Wow. Mr. De Vera, that's really, really, really good. Indeed. I I fully agree with you. Very important. We're still living. We have our family with us and still have work, right? Wow, that easy. Being healthy, indeed. Okay, keep them coming. Mm-hmm. Grabe no, pag tiningnan ko yung sagot ni Mr. De Vera, um, which is life, family, and work, pag tiningnan mo, and grateful naman talaga tayo for those things kasi 'di ba parang it's a constant, right? Pag meron ka ng life, may family ka na, may work ka na. But isn't it that during this pandemic, the the simple things that we used to see as simple, parang nag-amplify sila, 'di ba? Parang oo nga no, napaka-importante pala na buhay ako, na wala akong sakit, na parang dati we're just taking this things for granted, di ba? And then our families, parang sila yung nandiyan sa atin, di ba? Hindi nila tayo iniiwanan. We're a very, very attached unit, a basic unit of the society, and we feel that love from our family members. And then work, because of work, di ba, we still continue to survive and thrive. Meron tayong pagkain, meron tayong pambili ng mga kung ano-ano. So thank you for that. Just really share, continue sharing what you're grateful for in 2021. Let's keep that coming, yeah? All right, really good. Let's go to the next slide, please, April. All right. Okay. Now, the next question would be, what are the three things that you appreciate doing for yourself? Let me just be very clear here. What are the three things that you appreciate doing for yourself in 2021? Wow, protection, provision, and productivity. Really good. Excellent. Wow. Wow. What did you appreciate doing for yourself in 2021? Jennifer, amazing. Really good, indeed. I like this, Rose. Learning how to crochet. Alam mo, marunong ako nitong gumawa nung grade school ako. Pero ewan ko ba nakaligtaan ko na siya. But wow, this is really good Learning to crochet. Wow, it's all learning for you and then the rest. Really excellent, my dear. Really good. Judith says, strike two with COVID and life must go on. That's really good. Still, Okay, appreciate doing for yourself more praying. Cecilia, amazing. Prayer is really important. It gives us that, parang alam mo yun, parang time to be silent, time to pause, time to talk to the Lord, di ba? Eating well and health food, learning new knowledge. Alam mo, sa mga tao dito who are actually learners by heart, isn't it that this pandemic actually triggered us heightened learning, di ba? Ang dami nating natutunan. So that's really good. I've never lose hope and strength. It's really good. Opportunities. Looking on the brighter side of every situation. Planting. Nako, ang dami palang plantita-plantito dito. That's really good. Volunteering, self-love, facilitating support group. Wow, this is amazing, Miss Anna Lynn, no? Indeed, the best way for us to appreciate ourselves is to really recognize also what are the things that we're not just doing for ourselves, but also the things that we're doing for others. So just keep it coming. Wow, I can feel the love. Ang dami. Nakakatuwa. Planting. Totoo yan. Plantita, plantito. Can we just go to the next slide, please, April? This one is very, very, very cool as well. Now, the question is, who are the three people you appreciate in 2021 overall? Alam ko marami tayong na-appreciate na tao noong 2021, pero ang gusto kong makuha dito na malagay ninyo sa mga notes ninyo and even in the chat box is, sino talaga yung nagsa-stand out sa inyo ng mga tao that you really appreciate in 2021? Yay! Yes, Judith, more prayerful, being closer to God, Mr. Valgomera, Miss Valgomera. Indeed, no? Importante, tight relationship also. It's really good. Keep them coming. Yes. Hi, I like this, Miss Angelina saying no. That's very courageous. My husband, John, really amazing. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah. Wow. Wow. My boss. Thanks, Nelsie. Indeed, no? Importante din because we spend what? A lot of time at work, di ba? So it's important that we're appreciative also of the people that we work with. Reconnect with nature, stay active, give thanks. Workmates, yes, that's really important, no? Wow. Keep them coming. Who are the three people you appreciate in 2021? My children. Indeed, no, Miss Cecilia. Some friends prayer group, grabe. This prayer group, I've also joined at least three prayer groups in 2020 and 2021. And I think just being connected with them and really just, learning and really deepening our understanding of God's words, really, really amazing. Parents, husband, daughter, family. Wow. It's really good. Grabe ang mga lumalabas na mga answers ninyo. These are really people that that you interact on a daily basis. Family members, the people that you work with, your bosses, amazing frontliners. Indeed, no, grabe. I can only, paano ba natin mapapasalamatan yung mga frontliners natin for everything that they've done to us, no, for taking care of our needs, no. Wow, amazing. It's really good. Now let's go to the next slide, please, April. All right, now, syempre alam na natin yung word natin for 2021, right? Alam natin kung ano yung mga i-continue, i-stop, i-start doing natin. Alam natin kung ano yung in-appreciate natin for ourselves, what we're grateful for, and who we appreciated for 2021. Now, tying all this up together, if you can just think right now, reflect it. What is that one word that best describes your theme for 2022? Be excited. Ano kaya yon? Ano yung word that best describes my theme for this year? It's not too late. We're still in the first month of the year. So it's going to be good to hold on to that theme or to that word so that every time you're actually doing something and you feel like you're struggling, you're going to remember this word, right? Okay. Sige nga, tingnan natin. Rice. Grabe. That was quick, Mr. De Vera. It's really amazing. Progress. Okay. Really good, Mark. Growth, amazing. Rise and shine. Courage. It's really good. Really good. And make this your word for the year. Wiser. I like it. Healing. Leaps. Wow, I like that, Troy. Leaps. Innovate. Stronger. Healing. Transformation. Nelsie, what a very beautiful word. Wow, things above. Wow, that's really good. Endurance, indeed, no? Adaptable. Okay. All right. Okay, keep them coming. This is really, really good. Now, can I just ask one person, that courageous person again in the Zoom, attendees, overall, from the self-reflection that we've done so far, what have been your realization? Ano yung mga na-realize nyo? Ano yung mga na-appreciate nyo? Ano yung mga thinking ninyo nung ginawa natin ito? Can I just ask, just maybe 1 to 2 persons to share their thoughts and, anong meron kayong nakuha from this activity so far? Share their thoughts and anong meron kayong nakuha from this activity so far? Share your thoughts. Do we have someone who wants to share? Do we have someone who wants to share? I think we have an audio issue so far. It's okay. Just keep the responses coming. If you wish to just share your thoughts in the chat box, ano yung na appreciate nyo with the exercise so far for yourself? Ano yung nakuha ninyo? Parang meron ba kayong new things that you also gathered for yourself? Yung, uy, bago to for me ah. Or is this something that helped you at least for the session? Tingnan natin. Anyone who'd like to share in the chat box? Did you notice something about your feelings, about your thoughts? All right. Just mindful of time, I want you to write your thoughts. Yes. Just write your thoughts of how this exercise has impacted you. Yeah. And I hope that you will, find this helpful, and I hope that you can do this by yourself. 'Di ba? Yun naman yung intent dito na I'm actually, yes, thank you for that, Connie, no? Conducting SWOT analysis, totoo yan. This is just an example of how it is to do self-reflection. But the beauty of doing this today together with the rest of the attendees is that you can actually do this by yourself. Yun ang intent dito. I want this to be sustainable for every one of us here. Na hindi lang to today, whenever you feel like writing things down and really reflecting on the things that are happening in your life, kaya niyong gawin siya by yourself. And yes, thank you so much, um, tawag dito, Miss Annalyn, for finding this very light at hindi masakit sa ulo. That is indeed the intent, no? Kasi nag-uusap lang tayo, nagchichikahan lang tayo dito. So thank you for that. All right, now, as I've said earlier, um, hindi naman lahat ng gagawin natin for this workshop is this, di ba? I will also do some downloads to really help everyone finish strong amidst the pandemic, right? Okay, now let's go to the next slide, please. April. All right, now let me just share with you. As I've said earlier, I'm juggling different roles, right? I'm a wife to a business owner, I'm also a corporate worker, I'm a friend, a mother. Ang dami nating roles sa buhay, right? And it's not naman na every day is a great day, right? But whenever someone would ask me, "How are you, Mayshelle?" This is my usual response: mabuhay, mabuti, mabuti. I know that sometimes it's not easy to articulate this, especially when you don't feel so well. But if there's one thing that I noticed doing this is that whenever I articulate something really positive, the brain would actually pick it up, and quickly my emotions would actually pick it up as well. Parang kasunod ka agad yung feeling na, okay, I'm mabuhay. So, ooh, energetic. Mabuti, I'm really in a good place right now. And mabuti, I feel so beautiful today. And isn't it that when we're feeling that way, in that state, we're also feeding that off to other people as well? And I feel that every time I say these things to other people about myself, I feel that potent power. Yeah. And it really feels so good that I can also sense that unimaginable strength within me. And the good thing is that every time I switch from a negative space to a positive space, I feel resilient. So now let's talk about resilience, because one key element of finishing strong amidst the pandemic is being resilient. And resilient is not an easy word. We need to really get through this together. How we, how we define it and how we use it amongst ourselves. If you can just go to the next slide, please, April. Right. But before I go into the definition of resilience, let me just share with you something about myself. So I think I've mentioned it at the start of my slide pack, that I'm actually a Gallup Strength Certified Coach. And yay! For those who I have done Gallup coaching already, in the Zoom attendees, kaway-kaway naman dyan, for you who I have done the processing in the last 3 years. I'm a Gallup Strength Certified Coach, and in Gallup coaching, we believe that it's very important for us to focus on our strengths and not on our weaknesses, because our strengths is these are the things that are innate in us. Kasi alam nyo, yung experience ko in the past, while growing up, I've been an achiever all my life. I've been a very, very strong performer all my life. Whether sa school or sa work or even sa bahay, gusto ko lahat achieve, achieve, achieve. And I was taught while I was growing up na kailangan yung mga weaknesses i-address yon para at least kailangan, 'di ba, perfect ka, na-address mo yung mga hindi magandang bagay sa'yo. But you know what? This Gallup strengths coaching really taught me that we only have finite energy. And because we have finite energy, we need to focus on the things that we need to focus on. And that is to focus on our strengths. Kasi doon pa lang sa 5 top strengths natin, solve na tayo. We can actually be successful in life. And I've actually experienced this the moment that I was coached the first time, and now that I'm actually going through life, using my top 5 Gallup strengths of responsibility, learner, input, context, and strategic, I know what I'm capable doing. Alam ko kung saan ako magaling, doon ko ipupwesto yung sarili ko. Alam ko kung paano um, aralin yung mga bagay na hindi maganda, na kailangan kong ayusin. And the good thing about Gallup strengths is that they don't get executed in a standalone way. For example, responsibility. Hindi lang responsibility ang kaya kong gamitin. I could actually combine my top 5. I can combine responsibility and learner. I can combine responsibility and context and so on. And, with 300 plus hours of coaching for the last 3 years that I've done this Gallup coaching with and on, with the coachees, no? My big realization is that grabe pala talaga tayong tumingin sa weaknesses natin. Talagang ang focus natin yun. But hey, we cannot be too successful if we focus on the things that are not in us. Kasi ang laking enerhiya or energy that we need, that we consume to just, address a weakness. But when we focus on our strengths, napakadali kasi nasa atin na siya. And also, in Gallup, we're taught that, if you're overutilizing and underutilizing a strength, it's also a weakness. So talagang tinututukan ko to para at least tamang timpla lang. Alam ko na ito lang yung kaya kong ibigay para hindi naman sobra-sobra, hindi siya magiging weakness for me. Let's go to the next slide, please. Right. So now that I know my strengths, I could then apply it to be resilient. Again ha, yung resilience, the word, it's not, kumbaga para sa akin, minsan simple ang intindi natin, pero napakalalim nito, no? And in fact, just the other day, my husband and I were talking about this. And if I just put it here, ang sabi ko nga dito, di ba, it's about being able to overcome the unexpected. And the goal of resilience is to thrive, not just to survive. Pero alam nyo, the other day nga, kausap ko yung husband ko, and we were talking about this. Resilience is also something like this. Kunyari, di ba, sa buhay, alam natin hindi siya perfect. Alam natin hindi tayo perfect, hindi perfect ang ibang tao. It's also about accepting that life isn't perfect, that problems, challenges, issues would always arise in our lives. And they are constant. Talagang merong ganun kasi ayaw naman natin siguro yung flat na buhay, di ba, na puro na lang masaya. Parang ano ba yun? Hindi rin naman siya maganda, right? So, they're there to actually make us humans, right? And, because the world is imperfect and we are imperfect, resilience is also about what? It's also about accepting that other people are not perfect. And because they're not perfect, kailangan may alignment, kailangan may agreement, kailangan may acceptance na hindi perpekto yung mga ibang tao na nakakasalamuhan natin. And if we have that thinking that neither us nor other people are perfect, ano kayang mangyayari sa mundo? Isn't it that we're being more compassionate? Isn't it that we're being more gentle? Isn't it that we're kinder to other people? And isn't it that we're more loving, joyful, peaceful, and our lives are free? Di ba? Napakaganda nung ang daming freedom kasi nga wala tayong masyadong malaking expectations ng ibang tao, right? But of course, it doesn't mean that if people are imperfect or we are imperfect, but we don't correct. We correct, but we correct gently, right? We correct in a kind way. We correct in a compassionate way. Wow, that's really amazing. Now, of course, ako to. This is my definition of resilience. Can I just ask people to put in the chat box now, what's your definition of resilience? And then just put it in your notes para hindi nyo rin makalimutan. Okay, let's get through this. Tingnan natin kung anong mga definition ninyo. Resilience. It's about adapting also, right? Accepting that life can have uncertainties. We don't know what's up there, di ba? Hindi natin alam kung anong mangyayari tomorrow. So, kailangan may konting preparation, but let's not forget to seize the moment, to enjoy what's in there today. Thank you, Rose. Yes, it's bouncing back. Hindi lahat ng oras i-okay tayo. So, resilience is the ability to bounce back. That's really good. Anyone in the Zoom attendees? Yes, bouncing back. It's assimilating and accommodating things to our schemes, no? Very good. Ability to become strong, amazing. Ability to adapt. Yes. Flexibility. Indeed, no, napaka-importante nito, Miss Annalyn, no? Being flexible. Again, alam niyo yung ano, lastiko, di ba? Yung rubber band. You know, I really love it, no, na parang pag ginalaw mo siya, tapos di ba yung mga star, yung mga maliliit pa tayo, yung parang pwede mo siyang i-stretch, tapos pag hindi mo na siya gagamitin, di ba babalik siya to its original form. That's resilience. We're being stretched a lot of times, especially during this pandemic, but we have that ability and capacity to actually get back to our original form. It's really good. Striving and how you stand up in every fall is very important. There's ability to break through. Yes, we have breakdowns in life. Hindi mawawala yon, and we need to accept that. But we're also given that ability and capacity to break through, and that's resilience. Striving, indeed. Wow, amazing. This is really good. Can we go to the next slide, please, April? Despite adversities. Now, from your definition of resilience, and let's really just put this in your notes and maybe in the chat box as well. What has been your recent experience where you felt that you've been resilient and were successful enough on it? What strengths did you use to be successful? Ano mga bagay yung ginamit ninyo para maungusan ninyo or ma-overcome ninyo yung mga challenges na nangyari sa buhay ninyo recently? And paano nyo masasabi na, oy, because of my definition of resilience, naging resilient naman pala talaga ako. What is that? Yes, Miss Jennifer, being tenacious, just holding on. Di ba? Hindi kailangan na magpagapo tayo with all the fear that we're feeling. Just really hold on. It's really good. Okay, just write it in your notes. It's very important to really take note of your definition and how you've been successful in life because of this definition and ano yung mga ginamit yung strengths. Okay. Sige, sulat lang in your notes. Again, this is time for reflection, really knowing yourself better. I like that, Connie. It's improvement on your well-being. Yes, very important. All right, so just continue writing on your notes on your response to this question that's being posted here on screen, and then just really continue responding to that. Yeah? Okay, now let's go to the next slide, please. Just mindful of time. Right, okay. I think, if I'm not mistaken, in 2018, somebody actually shared this with me. It was my first coach because in 2018, I was immersed in the world of coaching. And since then, I haven't looked back. I'm really, really in love with coaching. It's my way of helping other people become more successful in life and developing other people to be better today than yesterday. Now, I have this acronym, and this acronym is has been very helpful to me. It's T, not the drink. But you can see there's a drink also. But T stands for thoughts trigger our emotions, and emotions trigger our actions. Alam nyo dati, akala ko parang pag nakaramdam ako ng isang bagay katulad ng anger, parang bigla na lang siya, yung parang nakaramdam ako noon tapos nag-a-act ako. Hindi pala ganun yon. It really starts with a thought. And then our thought, because it's what we think about, it actually drives our emotions. And then our emotions drives our actions. No? So for example, during the pandemic, the first time that we had this, ang first thing naisip ko, paano kaya pag mag-survival of the fittest? Paano kung mawala ng pagkain? Paano kung hindi ito matapos? So anong naramdaman ko? Nung nagkaroon ako ng ganong thoughts, syempre ang naramdaman ko, oh my God, grabe yung takot ko. Talagang, paano na to? Talagang, I was really feeling so restless na paano ako bukas, paano yung family ko, if this can be that survival of the fittest, worst case scenario, no? And of course, the action was, I was really, alam mo yon, pag nakikita mo ako, talagang I'm really trying to think of ways, 'di ba? Parang ang dami kong actions na gustong gawin, gusto kong magpabili ng tawag dito ng oxygen tank, alam mo yung mga ganun, or gusto kong mag-imbak ng pagkain na pagkadami-dami. But you know, learning this, kaagad shift because I can now learn how to shift quickly. So, yes, it's we're capable of thinking, right? And we're capable of feeling. But you know there are two ways of doing tea, no? The first one is when you're actually thinking and it gets into a negative thinking, you can capture that negative thoughts. And this is from experience na pag na-capture mo siya kaagad, wala na siya, di ba? Hindi na siya mag-form into an emotion. And then, hindi rin negative yung action na gagawin natin. But of course, we're again humans, no? And sometimes yung brain natin, sa pagkabilis niya, hindi kaagad-agad nating nakakapture yung ating negative thoughts. So what happens there? What happens there is that when you have that negative thought, please make sure that you don't linger on that negative thought and you don't linger to that negative emotion. Bakit importante yon? You know, I've been studying traditional Chinese medicine for the last year or so. So yan yung ginagawa ko every Sunday morning together with my husband. And what I was actually learning from traditional Chinese medicine is that for every organ that we have in the body, may corresponding siya na emotion, lalo na pag negative emotion. No? So for example, if you have a lack of joy, it will actually affect your heart. If you have consistent and constant anger, ang affected nun is your liver. And if you have constant worry, ang affected nun is your stomach. And then if you have constant fear, ang affected nun is actually your kidneys. So if you think about that, and lahat naman tayo, di ba, we wanted to be smart, we want to be wise, right? If you think about that na, oh my God, yung liver ko pala kapag lagi akong angry, or yung kidneys ko pala if lagi akong matakot, affected pala sila, and they're not able to actually do their or perform whatever they need to perform for our bodies well or optimally, di ba? So kung alam natin yon, what do we need to do? If we can move to the next slide, please. We need to do thought management. Kailangan, we need to really decide and choose the thoughts that we have to linger and prolong, di ba? Kasi alam natin, uy, kung consistently takot ako or angry ako, katulad niyan, yung ating liver. Alam naman natin that the liver's work is actually to create bile, right? Tapos siya yung mag, 'di ba, mag, how do you call this, magpo-process ng mga fats na kinakain natin. So just imagine, if you're consistently angry, and laging ganun yung ginagawa mo, hindi magagawa ng liver yung work niya. So what happens? Pwedeng yung stomach mo, di ba, you have consistent bloating or tataba ka a bit, di ba? Or magkakaroon ka ng fatty liver or something like that. So it really affects the body. And so if we know that our organs are affected because of the negative emotions and negative thoughts that we have, anong gagawin natin? We choose not to do it, right? We choose not to overthink negatively. We choose not to do multiple thinking negatively as well and things like that. Kasi alam natin hindi maganda. We need to be mindful. And though we say that kasi hindi naman makokontrol yung mga tao na nandyan sa paligid natin, yes, that's very true. We cannot control everything in life, and that is certain. But what can we control? We can control ourselves. And by controlling ourselves and our thoughts, first and foremost, ang sarap nun. Kasi we can choose to be having loving thoughts. We can choose to be having, peaceful thoughts. And, thoughts that are actually good, right? Pero again ha, hindi natin sinasabi dito na hindi pwedeng magkaroon ng negative thoughts. Kasi paano kung talagang ang isang bagay na na-experience natin, very unhappy naman. No, we're not saying that. What we're saying is that acknowledge the thought, acknowledge the feeling, but don't linger on it kasi hindi maganda yon. We need to rise above the negative thoughts and the negative feelings. And stop. Alam nyo, malaking bagay sa akin for the last 3 years or so, being reflective versus being reactive. Kasi pag reactive ka, yung parang pag meron kang naisip ka agad, tapos biglang, alam mo yon, may negative ka na kaagad na nafe-feel, tapos i-act mo siya kaagad. Explosive yun eh. Talagang boom! Pag galit ka, boom! Di ba? Nakakasigaw ka. But what I do in the last couple of years is that I try to really think, okay, galit ako. Okay, bakit ako galit? And if there's one thing that I actually noticed in the last 3 years is that when I'm galit, when I'm angry, kadalasan it's because I actually have some thinking about, the pride, di ba? Or may mga bagay na parang, kasi gusto ko, tama ako. I have that need to be right. So things like that. So there are things that we can do when we are being reflective than being reactive. Because we can then really pause. Tapos, yung possibility pa na magkaroon tayong mga kaaway or conflict with other people, babawa siya. Kasi pinag-iisipan natin maigi yung ating ginagawa for others as well. Let's go to the next slide, please. For engineers like me, or maybe scientists like me, people who've studied energy management, we know, I've said this a while ago, that energy is finite. Hindi ho sobrang dami nating enerhiya. In fact, di ba, kaya tayo natutulog ng 7 to 8 hours a day, it's because we get drained from a day's work. And it's the same, mental energy, emotional energy, physical energy, these are all finite. Kaya nga sabi nga, di ba, kailangan ma-conserve natin para hahaba pa yung buhay natin, right? And energy conservation is very important. Sabi nga ni Lou Holtz, it's not the load that breaks you down, it's the way you carry it. Kung laging burden yung feeling mo, burden talaga ang buhay. But if you feel like, my mantra today is, life is easy, you know what? Life will really be so easy for you. And compassion is very important here. Because the moment that you say, I only have finite energy and I'm going to be compassionate to myself, you will have that full recognition that we cannot control everything in life. And when things get overwhelming, really take a pause. Talagang ako yan yung ginagawa ko. Pause, 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 pause. Take a break. Drink carrot juice. No? Not Kit Kat. That's unhealthy. But drinking vegetable juices, that's really helped me a lot, no? And again, as I've said, live life with ease. It's a choice. Either you choose to make your life light or you choose to make it burdensome. What would you choose? Sige nga, it's something that we need to be wise on, right? Be reflective than reactive. Be light and be a light to others as well. Okay, now let's go to the next slide, please. All right. As I've said, I've been living a healthier life in the last 3 years. And these are the things that I actually do. And Nelsie and some of my friends here at Zoom um, have actually experienced my journey, no? So this is how I support a strong and healthy body, and it really makes me, you know, optimistic and positive that I can finish strong amidst the pandemic. So for the last 3 years now, ang ginagawa ko talaga is really to build that stamina, no? And I do it via meditation. I really spend my first 30 minutes in the morning reading the Bible. I also meditate. So I have a lot of apps. And then I do gratitude journaling as well. I try to start the day by being grateful and also end the day by being grateful as well. And then right now, because of the pandemic, we've relocated here in Tarlac because I'm actually building a wellness and coaching facility in the farm setup. And that is where I actually meditate a lot as well. I also have a fire pit. I'll show you later some photos of what I'm actually building here in Tarlac, no, in San Jose, Tarlac. And it's very important that apart from eating the right food, I also do 8 to 10 glasses of water a day. I get enough sleep. Alam nyo, okay yung during the pandemic, may mga pinapanood tayong mga K-drama or maybe Netflix and all that. But always remember that, um, yes, okay, we can give you a copy of the slide, Mr. De Vera, if that's okay with you. I'm just mindful of time. We can give you that, yes. Very important that we actually get enough sleep. Bakit? Because the 8 hours of sleep that we do every day, it actually, um, parang ini-invigorate niya yung ating mga organs. Studying traditional Chinese medicine, natutunan ko that by 11 to 2 o'clock in the morning, yun yung kasagsagan na nagre-repair, nagre-restore yung mga organs natin. And it's very important na during that time, again, 11 to 2, tulog tayo. Kasi pagising pa tayo nun, burdened na yung mga organs natin. So sana po, for those who are actually sleeping really late, this is a reminder for you to sleep well, to really get that sleep. Kahit po matulog tayo ng sobrang dami in the morning, wala pa rin count yon. Because yung circadian rhythm natin, it really triggers us to sleep yung certain hours of the day, and the 11 to 2 o'clock or 3 o'clock or so, ito yung time talaga na nagre-repair, nagre-restore yung katawan natin. So let's really give our body that. All right. Now, quality of food. I know that this pandemic, it also triggers us to eat, food from Grab or from the outside. But if there's one thing that I've changed as well, and I've actually lost 12 kilos, just, changing my diet. I've now really stayed away from processed food, junk food, fast food, and I'm only drinking water, no? So it's not easy, ah. So, it's really through discipline that I was able to do this. But it can be done, and you can do it konti-konti. You can start by eliminating a bit of your fast food, or maybe your junk food, or maybe your processed food, or pwedeng kunyari damihan niyo muna yung vegetables ninyo, 'di ba? Or maybe go for organic produce, 'di ba? So yung mga ganong bagay. And for me, it also helps to really move, move, move. Ako, ang ginawa ko from the very start of the pandemic, I actually did Zumba. Super. Um, ang hirap, no? Kasi hindi tayo nakakalabas. So I can walk from time to time, but because of the pandemic at constraint tayo, ang ginagawa ko talaga is I do Zumba, no, at home, and then I really walk, no, really a lot of times in the day. In fact, I try to strive 5,000 to 10,000 steps a day because it's the only way for our body to really get its work. Kasi 'di ba, yung body natin, it's meant to move. Our legs are meant to move. Lahat 'yon. So we have to use it. Sunlight is also very important. A lot of people are taking synthetic vitamin D. but you can just go out of the house, really get that ample sunlight is very important. And then the physical touch, alam nyo, grabe, there's one um, YouTube video that I've watched, I think in 2020. It's a TEDx talk, and it actually talks about relationships. And ang sinabi doon is that for people to actually live longer, you have to have really, really good relationships. It's not about the quantity, so hindi yun kadamihan, di ba? Kasi minsan sa Facebook, we have so many friends, right? But what he said in that talk is that, if you wanted to be, to be alive, to be happy, you really need strong connections. You need to be relating well with other people, to your close ties, diba? So it's very important. But because it's not easy for us to do physical connections at the moment, let's really do a lot of virtual connections just as this, diba? So very important. So yon, as I've said, no, I've actually built a wellness and coaching facility here in Tarlac. It's still a work in progress. And also, just the other day, I was talking to the mayor of San Jose Tarlac, and this person is really someone that I look up to a lot because he's really my role model of environmental protection, my role model of sustainability projects. And one of the things that we've talked about the other day, it's really about how nature heals. And just imagine, alam nyo yung last year ko while I was working from the farm, alam nyo yung makikita nyo yung greens, yung parang, paano mo maiisip na may stress pag ang nakikita mo nature, di ba? So you're actually getting that when you go and commune with nature. And then at the same time, you get in touch with, with the people in the province. Yung sobrang sarap silang kasama, they're really kind, and then marami din silang nabibigay sa'yo ng mga organic papaya, di ba? Yung mga ganon ba? But I guess if there's one thing that I can really, invite you to do, hindi naman siya kailangan na pag nag-out of town kayo, that it's actually going to be so expensive. A weekend day trip, kahit saan na nakikita niyo may nature, it's really enough to energize the mind, the body, and the spirit. Tapos alam niyo yung kasama niyo lang yung family niyo, kausap niyo, hindi yung, oo sige, nag-out of town nga kayo, pero ang kausap niyo is yung cellphone ninyo, di ba? It's a time to really, take off ourselves from our cell phones and really have the time and have the connections and, engaging our family members and really asking them, how are you? How's your day? What has bothered you, di ba? Ang sarap kaya nun na alam mo yon, you feel so special kasi you're cared about, and then your welfare is also being asked, di ba? So things like that. And nature talaga, pag nakikita niyo yung sunrise, sunset, and even the beach, no, sarap, sobra. It can really heal you. So for those who are suffering from stress, I really recommend that you go out and really do nature mga trekking, alam mo yon, yung buti lang sa bundok, magwo-walk lang, di ba? Yung mga ganon, it can really help. So, if you wanted to visit us, just let me know. I can show you later what I do together with my friends in my facility. Okay, let's go to the next slide, please. Mm. So, thank you so much. Yes, indeed, Mr. De Vera, no, it's disconnecting from the busy world. Alam nyo, yung isang mga nanonotice ko, kapag medyo stressed ako, ang ginagawa ko is that I try to really immerse myself in, with my phone. Tapos, andyan yung Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. Tapos walang katapusan. Tapos, you're trying to really check on, other people as well. And that's one thing that I noticed, that the more that I do that, the more that I get into a thinking na I need to be this, I need to be that. So there's that comparison. And then pag nakikita mo na, oh, it seems that the lives of other people are actually perfect. Well, no. No one's living a perfect life. And Facebook, maybe Instagram, and other social media apps, it's just a glimpse of the lives of others and even for us, right? So let's really try to focus. At times, we need to unplug ourselves from social media because, again, when we focus on ourselves, where we're at and where we're going, yung parang we just need to develop ourselves, improve ourselves, mas maganda yon, di ba? So unplug ourselves from time to time because that's also one way of energizing ourselves during the weekend. And don't work on the weekends if possible. Really try to give that to yourselves and also to your family. Again, this is just a reminder that our road ahead, our future is uncertain. Ang dami, di ba? There's a lot of pandemic situations that's causing out a lot of fears. There's potential job loss, hindi nawawalan because the way the dynamics of companies right now, na nagdaming nag-iiba, di ba? So, kung pwede talaga tayong mawawalan ng trabaho. There's work from home arrangements. There's, kids that we need to take care of, yung mga modules nila, yung kanilang classes na online, our families, 'di ba? May mga sick family members tayo. So there's a lot of multiple changes brought about by this pandemic. So we need to really recognize and accept that for any change, yeah, given by this pandemic, we need to accept that there's always uncertainties. And that's a constant in life. And we need to embrace and accept that. Let's go to the next slide, please. Right. But as I said, no, hindi naman yung uncertain future, the sadness, the anger, the fear, the disgust, these are not the oppressive evils. Kasi kung meron tayong healthy brain and healthy heart, so healthy thoughts and healthy emotions, and our faculties, so our organs are employed and healthy. And also when we are actually free and we use our hope, our faith, and trust in the Lord or in the universe as our star, we can actually make things successful for us. We can finish strong. Wala namang naghihindi sa atin because it always starts with a choice. And that choice is to live a good life or to live a burdensome life. What will you choose, right? For me, I will choose to live a good life because as the Lord said, di ba? Sabi nga niya in Jeremiah 29:11, for God declares, I only have great plans for you, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans of giving you a great future. That's very, very important. And we need to hold on to that. And what he says as well in one of the readings, di ba? God did not give us a spirit of fear, but of power, love, and discipline. So lahat yon pag tiningnan natin, bakit tayo matatakot? Why do we have to face life with fear, with anger, with worry, with anxiety, when we know for a fact that God is with us, diba? So let's really, really have faith, hope, and trust that things will turn out well for us and for the universe. Now, if you look at the photos that I put here, ito yung photos, some of the photos that I have of my wellness and coaching facility. I'm here every weekend. So if you wanted to come and join me, just, let me know. I have a fire pit. So yung ginawa natin kanina na self-reflection, I do that together with my friends and family. Lalo na paggabi, meron akong ginagawang bonfire. Tapos talagang chika lang. Alam mo yung usap lang. And really make things light for ourselves, no? And then also, one of the photos there that you can see, I have organic livestock. These are free-range chicken, turkeys. If you go there, you can just, pakain lang kayo. Ang sarap ng pakiramdam kayo pagdating ng umaga. Oh my God, I'm surrounded by all of this livestock. Tapos papakainin mo lang sila, tapos lalapit sila sa'yo. And this is how we're meant to live life, right? Simply, but full of life. Because we are not human doings. We can do work. We're given by God that opportunity to work, but it's not just the totality of life. We are human beings. We're meant to enjoy life. And God gives us that nature and everything that's already free for us to enjoy. Air, water, di ba? Lahat to, these are all given by the Lord for us to enjoy. Let's go to the next slide, please. April? Yes, so this is that wellness and coaching facility that I was telling you about. So it's called the DVR Leisure Farm and Life Transformation Center. So these are the things that's in store, for you to come swing by. Hindi pa siya fully complete, of course. It's still a work in progress. But the intent here is really to help corporate people to get that, energy back during the weekend. It's an energizer for me to even go there and be with family and friends. I have a planned reading nook there where people can just, read. I have more than 200 books that I will be putting there. And then yoga as well. And then, I also plan to put, a place where people can just do training and really just commune with nature. It's the overall feeling of being energized during the weekday and even during the weekend, right? So yun ang plan for this one. It's something that I want to give to the world because I've been so blessed already by the Lord, and I wanted to give that contribution to make life easy. Sabi ko nga, di ba, I've had moments in the past where I experienced a lot of breakdowns in life. Hindi naman perfect ang buhay, but we can make it easier for us. And life is meant to be lived with love, joy, peace, and freedom. So I'll stop there. We still have 15 minutes to get into question and answer portion of this workshop. And please feel free to ask your questions via Zoom. And also, April, if you can just, get the questions from Facebook Live, from YouTube, please get that for me. Right. Thank you so much for listening. Okay, so we'll wait for the questions. Maybe for those who are not comfortable asking questions, if you wanted to provide feedback on the talk so far, please do share that in the Zoom chat box. Okay, so how can I contact you dearly for a one-on-one coaching? Yes, I do have a Facebook account. It's in the same name. You can also approach April from Limitless Coaching. I do pro bono coaching as well. I do strengths coaching. I do transformational coaching. I do leadership transformation coaching. I do business transformation coaching. I do couple coaching as well. In fact, one of the things that I get feedback as well last year from couple coaching is that ang sabi nga nila, sana pala nalaman na namin yung mga strengths namin individually and collectively. Dati pa nung nagsimula pa kami, wala na sanang masyadong malaking arguments and fight, no? And that's very true because the moment that we appreciate our partner's strengths and not to linger and focus on their weaknesses, masaya yun eh. Parang mas marami pang magagandang magagawa yung partners din natin. Yeah. Yes, thank you for this question. Yes, Miss Rose, how can we teach resilience to our kids too? I have a 6-year-old child. From my experience, I have a 14-year-old boy, no? And pag tiningnan ko yung resilience niya versus the resilience that I've shown right now in my adulthood, ang laki ng pagkakaiba. Ang tinitingnan ko na pagkakaiba is that when I was growing up, I was molded to achieve so much, no? And I was really guided. I was parang ang naging concept ng parents ko. And of course, kasi yun lang din yung alam nila at that time, right? Is that I have to avoid making mistakes and I have to be perfect. But as I went through life, because of that mindset na nadala natin, kasi, di ba, ang sabi nga nila, lahat ng meron tayo ngayon, it's being shaped while we're growing up. It didn't actually help me that every time I run into obstacles or challenges in life, parang ang hirap, yung parang nahihirapan ako to even accept that there are problems kasi nga na-mold yung mind ko to be perfect. So, ang difference that I'm doing now together with my son is that I'm actually giving him the opportunity to make mistakes. Yung parang hindi ko na siya parang itatry, i-pressure to really be so parang kailangan conscientious ka din, katulad ni mom before, because I was really a very diligent kid, no? Kasi gagawa at gagawa naman sila, di ba? Of course, there's that motivation and inspiration. But, trying to really mold a person to not make mistakes is really, 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 really dangerous. Kasi hindi sila matututo na ang buhay, kasama yung mistakes, at kasama yung okay din, di ba? Hindi lahat ng bagay sila dapat yung nasa taas, minsan nasa baba din sila, and just letting them experience that, is very, very, very helpful already. So I hope that's helpful, um, Miss Rose. And to be honest, talking about emotional management of kids as well, what I actually do with my 14-year-old son, I give time. I really do. Um, just recently, I've actually tawag dito, gifted him with, with a Bible diary because I've done it last year. Yung every day I read the Bible, the readings every day, sa Mass. And I've asked him to do it. One way of actually progressing that emotional management with kids as well is really just asking them, how are you in the morning and after their classes? How are you? How do you feel today? And when they say that, when my son would say that, Mom, I'm really feeling bad today, I would then ask him, so what makes you feel bad? And just by letting him appreciate the feeling na hindi lahat ng araw joyful siya. I don't know if you've watched the movie Inside and Out. It's a Disney movie, I think. I'm not sure if it's a Disney movie, but the kinds of emotions ng isang tao, yun yung tinatalakay dun sa movie na yon. So there's the joy, there's fear, there's disgust, there's sadness, and there's anger. Ang ganda niya. You should watch it together with your kids. I watched it together with my son last year. And just knowing the different kinds of emotions, masarap yon because that can actually make our kids resilient. Na hindi lahat joy, hindi lahat maganda sa buhay, hindi lahat maayos. May mga times na mahirapan si mom and dad, may mga times na mahirapan ako, and that is perfectly fine. Thank you, Miss Rose, for the question. Yes, it's Inside Out was the title. Thank you so much. Yes, Annalene. Any other question from Zoom or maybe from Facebook Live, April? Thank you also, Dr. Elise. Thank you. Let me know if you need this kind of workshop for your teams. Let us know. We can readily give this to you. This is really my contribution to the world. Thank you. Anyone from Zoom? Any questions? By the way, I've mentioned earlier that I do have a couple of apps that I use. So if you're interested, there is this gratitude app, and it's the one with the flower. And then I use it every day, as I've said. It's really helping me. For those naman who are suffering from, fearful emotions and sometimes anxious emotions, there's Oak, OAK, yeah, OAK, and Oak would have meditations. breathe, sleep. So, for example, if you feel like feeling so overwhelmed, there's a deep, calm breathing exercise there. And then after doing that, you feel lighter, no? So, there's that. And then I also have Meditopia. I have Mind Shift as well. And Bloom. There are, questions that you can respond to. Um, there are questions that you can respond to from these apps, particularly Bloom and Mindshift. And the questions would be, how do you feel today? How was it today? So just imagine like somebody's asking you that, and then you can just, respond to the questions and even the kinds of emotions that you feel. It will even ask you, so how was it for you? So if this was the emotion that you felt, how would you want to address that? So, yeah. All right. Now, there's a question from YouTube. How do you boost confidence? Okay. That's a very good question. Can I maybe tell you one honest thing? So, personally, I'm a very introverted person. In fact, I'm very shy when it comes to communicating in plenaries like this. I've always been very anxious talking in public. But the only way for us to actually get that confidence is via the T approach that I've said earlier. No, thoughts trigger your emotions, and emotions trigger your actions. So every time I go into a talk and then I get anxious, the first thing that I'd ask myself, what makes you anxious? And then, you know what? Anxiety or fear or worry, it has the same symptoms as excitement. So what I tell myself before I do these kinds of talk, and this is just example of boosting my confidence, is I tell myself, I'm actually excited to speak to the public today because I have something important and valuable to share. Because at times, the reason why we're not confident because we feel like the value is actually low. We feel that we're not actually valuable. But if we feel so strongly about our value, our worth, isn't it that we're actually confident? Katulad dito, the things that I'm actually talking about today, these are not new things. These are things that you can get from other speakers too. But you've actually given your time for me and with me today and really spend this time together with me and listening to me and watching me. And I value that. And I also value myself with the things that I can share. And so, with that thinking, my feeling now is amplified to, oh my goodness, I'm just so excited to be in this session. Even if I feel that, you know, worry that I might actually fail for today, it was replaced with excitement, exciting thoughts, and exciting emotions because number one, I'm going to connect with people who I'm meeting for the first time today. And the second one is I'm going to share my personal experiences. And the third one is I'm going to fulfill the purpose that God has asked me to do. And that is to be of service to others. And to be of service is to actually share my life experiences like this. And when you get into that kinds of questions and value articulation exercise for yourself, you begin to get confident. I'm not perfect. I still get anxious before a session, before this workshop, before every talk that I do. But during the talk, I don't feel it because I feel like I'm just doing a one-on-one. Yung parang nagchichikahan lang. Yung ano lang, usap lang tayo. It's not easy ha, by the way. This is a journey for me. And, for the person who actually asked this, how to boost confidence, just approach me and Limitless. book a one-on-one coaching with me. You know, in coaching, this is one thing that I've learned as well. Coaching is a process where the coachee is in the driver's seat. You are the content expert. I'm the process expert. I facilitate. And it is a process where I actually let you deepen your understanding of why you're not confident in the first place. And the question would be, do you want to be in that space for the longest? Do you want to be in that space still? Or do you want to be not confident in the future? Now, the question is, we don't want you to get stuck in that. I want you to be in a positive and possible space. And because of that, the question would be, what is it that you intend? And if your goal is to be confident, then we're going to go into the process of what is it that you're going to do to make yourself confident, right? So that's coaching. And it's a very, 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 very powerful process. And it's a very sustainable process. I've had, more than 100 coaches already. And they've, they've encountered all of these issues, confidence, and all other issues in life. And yet they've made really big goals for themselves, really putting themselves into a positive and possible space. And yes, they're now successful. So yeah, it's really important. Okay, now there's another question. With the demands in our work, it sometimes bring our enthusiasm and motivation down. What would be advice to more or less keep us going or help us decide whether to already quit? Hmm, very important question. Very interesting question. Maybe the first question is, what is bringing that enthusiasm and motivation down? Do you know already? Because if you know already, again, what I've said earlier, it has to start from what is this all about? And then the next question is, what does this mean to me? Because if you're actually able to know where that enthusiasm and motivation draining comes from, then we talk, right? And then if you say that, oh, my motivation, enthusiasm are actually going down because I have difficulty relating with my office mates, or my boss has been very difficult to work with already. Work is extra difficult these days. Now the question is there something that you can do um, to make that go away? And then the other one is there something that you can control, yeah, to make that go away? Or is there something in terms of mindset that you can change to make that go away? Because remember what I said, always though, it's T. It's about our thoughts triggering our emotions triggering our actions. So it's really a choice at the end of the day. But if you already feel that burden, you need to make that choice, right? But first and foremost, what's driving that? I do coaching, root cause analysis. I do that as well because I'm a trained project manager. And in project management, we're taught of plan, do, check, act, right? And we're taught to actually do root cause analysis. What's driving that? And the moment that you're actually able to respond to that question is also the moment that you say, okay, yun pala yun. So kung yun, ito ngayon yung pwede kong gawin. And always remember this, stress is not equal to pressure. Let me just repeat that again. Stress is not equal to pressure. Pressure is something that's external. These are brought to you by external stuff or environment, di ba? Pwedeng yung mga burdens na binigay sa'yo ng office or lahat, di ba? Lahat ng binibigay sa'yo ng mundo. These are pressures. But stress is not equal to pressure because stress is how you make do with the pressure. It is internal, right? That's why pag sinasabi natin, oh, pareho naman yung pressure na binibigay ng dalawang tao ah. Bakit iba yung stress level nila? Exactly. Because how you handle pressure is directly proportional to your stress level. Alam nyo, sabi ko nga kanina, di ba? When you're already at the point where you're stressed, ano ang gagawin natin? Stop. Really take a break. Because pag sobra-sobra namang stretch natin yung rubber band, di ba? Anong mangyayari? Di ba? Napuputol. So it's just like that for us. If we don't stop and we continue to stretch ourselves really, really, di ba, ganito, talagang walang tigil. Talagang hindi na tayo babalik sa original position natin or original form. And that's what stress is actually doing to our body, no? So, really, rest is very important and really self-care. Sabi nga ni Nelsie kanina, di ba? We need to take care of ourselves. We need to really prioritize ourselves. And by taking care of ourselves is also telling us that we love ourselves. I hope that answers the question, Miss Cecilia. Right. So, April, we're already 5:02. Are we good? Or are there any more questions over at YouTube? Is there? Yes, good na po. Okay. From the Zoom chat box, baka gusto niyo pang magtanong. I can accommodate 2 more questions if you want to. Anyone? Yes. Thanks, Cecilia. Indeed. Always remember what I said earlier. 2 kinds of questions. Don't stop at horizontal thinking, which is what is this all about? Try to linger it further. What is this all about? And what does this mean to me, to my workmates, to my family, etc., etc. Linger the thoughts. Because once you do the self-reflection on a regular basis, ang sarap, sobra. Talagang mas maintindihan niyo yung sarili ninyo. And just imagine once you have a good grasp of who you are and what you're capable of and what your thoughts and your emotions and your actions are actually telling you, mas masarap mabuhay, mas successful tayo. Successful people are not, parang hindi sila ginagawa overnight. It's really discipline. And by disciplining yourself, by self-reflecting, by knowing yourself more, um, you can make it really well in life. Okay. All right. So, April, I think that's it. Again, everyone, to the 82 or so attendees for today, thank you so much for your time. I hope this was a valuable session for all of you. Again, if you need one-on-one coaching, just approach Limitless or approach me directly over at my Facebook account and let's talk. Usap tayo. You know, life is amazing and we are very blessed and we need to remain grateful in life. Thank you so much. Have a happy weekend. You take care, everyone. Enjoy the remaining of the day. Bye-bye. Bye.